Hi everyone and a warm welcome back to the Super League. Two things about this game. One is I just casted it and my record button didn't click in properly, so I'm doing this a second time. What I'm going to tell you straight away is it's kind of quiet during the middle part of the game. So what I'm going to do is try and talk through some of the units for some of the newer players and why they're positioned perhaps where they are, rather than concentrate too much on what little action there is at that time. The other thing I'm going to do as a special request from Lathans is we're going to watch the game from Awoodenbox's side, because Lathans really wants to see a game casted from the side of a player. So since we're kind of doing 3 games with these two, we'll cast this from Awoodenbox's side and see if that keeps Lathans entertained. Otherwise, let's do our usual. Over on the left in red, we have Awoodenbox playing as the 1st British Armoured, and over on the right in blue, we have Lathans playing as the 3rd Armoured. Let's have a look at what Awoodenbox has down. So, we have SAS Patrol and some Carl Gustavs heading quite far out. So, an aggressive push out of this point, really. We do see that from quite a few players, to be honest. Same here with the Terriers Paras there. We've got some scouts going out as well. And then back here we've got a good mixture of units all heading up that way. We have a Chieftain Mark 11, a Command, a couple of Javelin LMLs. Javelin LMLs are slightly better than standard Javelins. They do the same damage, but they have 9 missiles and they fire at a rate of 11 per minute. Compare that to a standard Javelin, which only has a fire rate of 6 and 6 missiles, though the Javelins can defend themselves a little bit as they do have assault rifles. Rover Command going to the back there, a couple of scouts, sort of defensive positioning, and some Rover Milans, defensive positioning against any early pushes. Over on the other side, as we spin round, we have Lathans. Lathans sending a fire team over here in a very strange location, I would say. The game is commencing. Snipers going up here, kind of not as far as you would expect. Usually people put stuff in these buildings over here. A couple of scouts there and a scout chopper heading up to the front. Good eyes on early on. A couple of scouts here, spread about a bit. We have a Command going to the back. We've got an Abrams going to the centre, which is a good position. It can be then split one way or the other, depending on where he needs it. Fire team heading that way down at the bottom to defend the forest and potentially push up at some point, but stops an early push. Cobra heading up very aggressively to the front here. But let's spin round. That's the majority of the units. There's just some infantry and things mixed in there for defence here. But let's have a look at the game for Awoodenbox's side. Cobra coming in, getting some early shots on that scout. Obviously, there's nothing there to defend it at the moment. The Javelin is coming in. There's a jet coming in back here. There's a Harrier coming in, heading for the scout. We'll definitely get a kill on the scout there without an issue. They do a lot of damage to choppers because they're quite slow and get the cannon shots. Cobra takes a shot from the Javelin, so the Harrier will finish it off. Nice kills there for the Harrier early game. Does take a hit from a Stinger, but should now get evac'd. So, positioning of units. Let's have a quick look. These Milans here are reasonably well positioned. If we take a look at where they can fire, this one's got good line of sight into the point. This one obviously can hit anything coming out this way, and the same with this one. They've got a good range. This one's pushing up a little bit there. The Javelin maybe getting a wee bit aggressive, pushing up to the front there. Javelin coming in around this side as well, just getting into a defensive position. Over this side, we've got a Chieftain in the middle. Not a bad position. Lathans does like to push across the middle. He's done it in a lot of games on this map. That jet is still in, but is now being evac'd. That Abrams obviously can be quite aggressive in the centre here. But Lathans likes to push across here. A couple of players do. It can be a good way to throw off your enemy if they've got a lot of defence here or a lot of defence here. And then you cut across the middle. Depending on how quickly they respond to that, can mean you can break through. Awoodenbox being fairly aggressive here with these Terriers Paras now. They're good units. They're a pretty big squad. 8-man squad. They've got the Carl Gustav, which is pretty decent against armour. Weaponry isn't bad. They are technically a shock troop squad, so they can, you know, get bonus damage when they get close. Ito being moved out of the way of them. They would be very good against these scouts. They should win that fight. However, fire support from the Abrams will make that difficult. Lathans will be bringing in more reinforcements here as well. Another Cobra coming in up at the top. Chieftain being shifted down at the bottom here. I'm sure he's seen this Abrams by now. Javelin there, taking a lot of fire from those scouts. The scouts being quite aggressive here. The snipers pushing out as well. We'll have decent eyes on a lot of this area. Cobra can again try and pick stuff up, especially if that Javelin goes down. I think it is going to escape for the moment, though. Cobra pushing up quite far here. Javelin going for it, though. It is veering off now. Rover Milan moving to a safe distance. Tractor Rapier is coming up, but not heading for that Cobra, sadly. Scouts taking fire here. This Javelin is moving up. More scouts coming in to the middle for Awoodenbox, and a mortar coming in now. Gazelle coming in here. Over at the other side, Bradley coming in there. There's a really weird positioning of an Ito. Lathans, can you explain to me why there's an Ito there? I can imagine a Stinger there, but amphibious vehicles, I feel like, would run out of fuel before they got over there, unless that's happened to him before. The only thing I can think is someone has done that to Lathans before and has managed to get amphibious vehicles up there. It just seems a really weird place for an Ito. It just seems like such a long distance. Warning Milan back here getting some shots off on this sniper, who were clearly being moved up to go for the scouts. Cobra's pulled all the way back out the way of the AA. Now, this map being as it is, it tends to be that there's now a build-up, because one player has to be able to push into the other player's point. We will get some skirmishing over here between these forces that are quite far forward, the SAS patrol, etc. Lathans got some strong fire support with some Bradleys and the tank there, though. More units coming in for the top as well. Defensive positioning. A little bit of an aggressive push here, perhaps. Trying to get into this tree line in the top corner. Obviously, the Cobra could potentially cause issues there. Another Ito over here, which again, I assume is to cover for units pushing across here. Now, that makes more sense because that's quite a short distance. But I'm genuinely curious if you could get amphibious vehicles from this side to there. If anyone knows, let me know in the comment. I don't think I've ever seen it done that I can think. Obviously, lots of choppers going around that way, but I don't think I've ever seen someone manage to get an amphibious vehicle all the way around that way. Certainly across here, yeah. No issue. It's a short distance, but this, it seems like a hell of a long way. Mortars coming in now. More infantry coming in down here. Lathans being a bit more assertive there. Now you'll notice generally Lathan's not being too pushy here, quite happy just to sit with his scouts out front. He's got plenty of eyes on. Lathans can likely see units here that he's not attacking. For example, I suspect he can probably see that Milan, the Rover Milan there, but he's not attacking it. He probably can't see the scouts just because they're so small from that distance, but he can probably see the Milan. That scout can probably also see those arm rifles potentially, but don't quote me on that. It's very hard to tell. The problem is on this particular replay system, I can't actually see the line of sight of units in terms of how far they can see enemy units that are exceptional stealth, etc., etc. Lots of skirmishing down here. Now, holding this city is pretty handy because it stops Awoodenbox being able to push straight to the back point. And it's also a good launching off point for an assault on this area. Now, you'll notice there's not a lot of defense in the point. That's because Awoodenbox is pushing out and trying to keep Lathans away from the point. And that's good as well, because the longer you keep your enemy away, it means they have more distance to cover to get to the point. More time for you to get reinforcements to defend the point. And that's what's sort of failing here for Lathans at the moment, is Awoodenbox is now very close to the corner of this point. So we are seeing more reinforcements coming in here. We're seeing another Abrams coming in this way. Abrams are very strong tanks, especially the M1A1. Scouts engaging here on the other scouts with some support from the Chieftain. That'll put the Ito under a lot of pressure because the Ito cannot fire back. The Ito cannot fire at the scouts. Unfortunately, the scouts are pretty badly damaged, so they're not going to get too far most likely. But it's allowed this Milan Power to push back up now because the Ito's moved. Scouts pushing up here. There you go. The Ito is leaving because it can't fight the scouts. It doesn't have any anti-infantry. Awoodenbox looking a bit more solid here, and the advantage is just holding this area means it's so easy to slip a command into that corner, and you could smoke that corner and get your command in, and that would force Lathan's hand into buying artillery or cluster bombers or something that he can hit that corner with to kill a command. Abbots here that have been brought in by Awoodenbox now. There's one in at the moment. These aren't great, is my advice. So I've been utilising the 105mm cannons in multiplayer quite a bit recently, playing as the 2nd Infantry. I'm finding them to be very unimpressive. They don't really do much damage. The best you can hope is that someone who realises they do damage will, or do little damage, will potentially move their units, and people who don't realise they do very little damage will definitely move their units out of the way. So you can force someone to move their units out of position. However, people like Lathans, I mean, he didn't seem phased at all by those shells coming in. I mean, he's moving his units forward now, but he didn't really seem to care. I mean, they might do... Look at this. They're landing pretty close to that sniper. They're not stunning it. They're not panicking it. They're not doing it. There's something wrong right now with that for me. I mean, look at that. Right on top of them, practically, that shell. And it's just not doing a lot. So the 105mm cannons, not great. Finally gets the kill there. But had to land basically on top of the unit to get the kill. And yeah, I'm not very enthused with the 105mm cannons. They've been very disappointing. So if you have the option in the deck that you're building, take the 152s, the 155s. They do a lot more damage. And, you know, they will do damage to tanks and stuff and force people to move them, if nothing else. And also have a much higher chance of killing infantry. But you'll notice throughout this game, these abbots will fire at units, and the units will just happily walk out the way without being too perturbed by them. Now, Lathans are bringing in lots of those M1A1s. They're good fire support if they're taken care of. And obviously, this is quite close quarters. So the warrior Milans, the Milans do damage, but they only have Milan 1, which won't do much damage to the front armor of an Abrams. The Chieftains are okay, but they're not amazing versus an Abrams. You're really needing your challengers in to deal with them. Now, the nice thing is, you know, the Chieftain there does have 20 penetration damage cannon. So it's got a good cannon, it just doesn't have the armor, is the issue. Javelins here can fire back at the infantry, but not the best units for it. They are being retreated now. A little bit thinner on the ground. Lathans has managed to push back out there, and that's, again, it's that buffer zone around the point. Having that buffer zone just means that it's longer for you to get reinforcements into the point. It's more area for the enemy to cover, and particularly with this point here, if you control these outer bushes and tree lines, then look at all of this open space that your enemy has to cross. If you've got good recon across here and long-range ATGMs or tanks, then that's a nightmare to try and cross. This is why a lot of people try and cross here, where there's a lot more tree lines and stuff, and get into here. But again, if you can hold this area and defend that tree line, again, it's a nightmare for them to get in there if you can hold that and just pummel them as they come in. The middle is always a very interesting place in this map, because people do push across it quite effectively. I've seen Lathans do it many times, and there's not a lot of cover there. But it's because most people don't put a lot of defense across the middle of the map. They focus their defense here, and they focus their defense here. This area around this point. Very rarely do people really focus it in the middle. And that allows some people, like Lathans, to build up a big force and then push across. I've seen him do that in multiple games. I can't remember if I've seen Awoodenbox do it. I've seen a few people do it, though. No names spring to mind except Lathans, to be fair. But I have seen it done by other people. Lots of Warrior Milans coming in down here, and those rifles. Challenger Mark II coming in down there as well. Very useful. You know, it's all about that extra armor. Front armor 20. That's the same cannon, basically, as the Chieftain Mark 11. But a little bit more staying power against the Abrams. Lots of mortars coming in over here, and the artillery shells, I think, on this Ito. But you can see again, the Ito's just walking back and forwards away from the Abbots. They just, yeah, they really aren't doing anything at the moment. Obviously, there needs to be a bit of a rebalancing of the artillery so that the smaller ones still do something and the bigger ones aren't really overpowered. So, balancing still to come there. Mortars going in on the Ito here. Now, the mortars, again, the 81mm mortars aren't terrible. But if you want to be doing damage instead of just scaring people off, you want the 120mm mortars if you have them available. They do, again, a lot more damage. And they can even, at the moment, do damage to the top of vehicles. So, not to be underestimated. They're a good harassment tool. 80mm ones, negligible at best at the moment. Javelin gets a kill there on a Cobra. We're sort of moving into a slightly more active phase of the game now. You'll notice there's a lot of units around here from Lathans as he attempts to push in this way. Warriors really hammering these infantry, but taking a lot of damage. I mean, the Warriors can't take a hit. Apache rocket pushing around this way. There is a tracked rapier there, and this javelin is also opening up on it. The tracked rapier does not have vision on it, and it is landing immediately to get out of, or going low at least, to get out of the way of that javelin. Abrams command tank coming around here. That Abrams pushing around now to go for those Warrior Milans. And the Milans, you see, if they miss, they don't do anything. And if they hit, they only do like 1 damage to the front of the Abrams. So it's not really ideal to go up against an Abrams, especially at close range. You need to be at maximum range, hoping for the best. Now, this Abrams, though, could be at serious risk from this Challenger Mark II if the Challenger can get a side shot. But obviously, it's not visible at the moment. Something else would have to see that. Arm rifles also pose a threat to that tank, because they can get a side shot. It's going to have to come a lot further forward for that Challenger to engage it, though. The Abrams is firing, so it's given its position away. It has taken fire from the Chieftain, but the Chieftain will lose that fight. Chieftain is dead. Challenger still hasn't moved up. Lots of fire going on in the middle here. Quite aggressive here from Lathans now. He wants to push forward. Challenger pushing up. Trying to go for that tank, perhaps? No. Has lost eyes on that tank. Is turning for it now, though. Has taken a shot from the Abrams. Will return fire. And there it goes. Good kill. Challenger needs to retreat now, though, because it has taken damage. In the middle here, you can see Lathans being quite aggressive. And this is what I'm saying about the center of the map. Look at these tanks pushing across. He's taking fire from the Milans. And that was a nice side shot. Oh no, in fact, that was probably front armor shot, because that's a Milan 2. The Rover Milan Paras have Milan 2s. So do a lot more damage there. 24 pen. So that was probably a front armor shot. Gets the kill on the second or third shot there. Really well done. It was already damaged, that tank. I don't know if the Milan got the first shot. Eagle coming in for that tornado. Gets the kill. Arm rifles doing a reasonable job there. Just holding Lathans back. And obviously that little push across the middle there stopped now. Ito having to move away from this area due to the artillery coming in. Milan Parrot did take a shot at that Bradley but didn't get a kill. Ito, however, taking a shot at that Milan. Could be unlucky for the Milan here. Oh, misses. Will get out alive. Lathan's still in a good position up here, managing to maintain that push out from the point. Artillery going in there now. Loads more reinforcements coming in for Lathans at this side, including an Abrams command tank. Mortar's doing a really good job hitting this area. Again, it's about harassment, but they're not really doing very much. And the reality is, Lathans is going to push up sooner or later. But at the moment, he actually looks to be retreating. That surprises me. I thought he might have pushed into here already. Lots of gazelles there. There's no AA here at the moment for Lathans, so those gazelles would have been devastating, but yeah. Now you see, Lathans said to me that he would like to see me do the game from this side because he sometimes feels I miss stuff that I wouldn't if I was watching from the player's perspective. I really disagree. I feel like I'm missing more not being able to see the entire map like that. I don't know. I'm not a fan of doing the cast from this angle. I feel like I'm missing more stuff because I'm focusing in on areas that I then can't see. You know, if I focus in here, I can still see out the corner of my eye stuff coming in at the top. I might miss stuff at the back, I guess, but if I'm here with Awoodenbox looking at the front line, I'm going to miss anything that's happening at the back here anyway. So I don't know. I don't know, Lathans. I'm not convinced this is beneficial for me as a caster. I feel like I'm still missing as much, if not more. I think I'll leave the doing it from a player's perspective to the players themselves when they're actually doing the tournament casts live. It just makes more sense to me. A little bit quiet again as we get a little bit stalemate, and I'm moving back around to this. I much prefer it. Abrams coming in here at the top as well. It's another Command Abrams. Lots of Command Abrams coming in for Lathans. He's got a lot in this deck, but very little movement in points right now. We do see more reinforcements coming in at the top for Awoodenbox, but I'm really not sure if he's going to have enough to push back here again. He needs to kill the Abrams. Down at the bottom, lots of Engineers Flash. Really good for the forest area, the Flash still. Obviously, the rifles, not great on their own there, because Flash will kill them pretty quickly. Anything that is anti-infantry is still pretty good in the game, though they have been nerfed. Good defense here, but that Abrams goes down to a pincer movement from those two chieftains. Must have got a side shot on them from one side. It did get a side shot, because when I casted this the first time, I actually watched them do it. Couple of clusters coming in for those chieftains, but losing eyes on, trying to retarget at the last minute, but aren't able to. Will take some fire from the tractor rapier there. F-15 Eagle coming in. Not sure what it's going for, if anything. I think just trying to provide some air cover. Because our rockets still haven't done anything there. Loads of abbots in. Firing at this area now. Still trying to kill that Ito, who is just, once again, just walking out the way without a care in the world. Mech rifles coming in to the centre here. Engineers Flasher on the move now, pushing up this side. Lathans keeping the pressure on. Doesn't want Awoodenbox to think he doesn't need to call stuff in down here. Lots of chieftains coming in there. Spread out, one going into the point and two up here. Oh, two more tanks there and a Bradley now defending this area. Good defense there from Lathans. Good defense down here as well from Awoodenbox. Apache coming in there. Another Apache rocket. Abrams coming in at the back there, still just sat waiting to move into the point. One in the middle as well, trying to get shots off across here. As I say, Lathans does seem to like the middle of the map. Maybe we're going to see a push across there again. Mech rifles coming in this way. And really at the moment, Awoodenbox wins this, I believe, because he's got the most points, and most points wins, even if it's not an automatic win in the game's mechanic. So at the moment, he just needs to defend. Technically, he wins by 6 points. No engagement yet between these forces. Still random mortar shots and artillery shots going in. Another 2 abbots coming in there. 4 on the field now. Awoodenbox still trying to get in the top there. Has managed to do some damage to an Abrams again, but that's probably going to get retreated, I would imagine. Though it is getting repaired by the supply, so may stay up there. Ito around the back there defending. Ito down there defending. Couple of M1A1 HAs coming in. Going to the center there. Oh yeah, Lathan's definitely going to push across the middle, bringing in stuff like that. These Gazelle rockets still not moved from that position. Is there actually any AA over here? There's a single Stinger there. The Gazelle's been moved up here now, but there are chaparrals in that direction. So I'll be curious where they're going. Abbott's once again trying to fire on the sniper there and the Ito. Can they finally kill the Ito, or is it just going to laugh at them again? Oh, finally gets a kill on the Ito. It's only taken about 10 barrages of artillery to kill them. Chieftains getting some shots off across here. But Lathan's being quite pushy with infantry in the centre now. Also being fairly pushy at the bottom here. That command still pushing up. Unsure if this is Lathan's final assault here. Difficult to say. 15 minutes left to the game. He's cutting it fine to take over in points. Now the problem with the Gazelle rockets is they only have 4 health. So a single missile can take out 1. And if they're close to each other, a single missile can take out 2. Because of the explosion radius. So we might see those get absolutely annihilated by the chaparrals and the Stingers over there, depending on where they move. Flash pushing up quite aggressively here. That Challenger would be helpful, although the 5-team AT4 will cause issues. These are out of their flash missiles, so we'll want to rearm probably now. Assault Pioneers coming in to help down there. Lathan's looking reasonably strong here, though. Lots of shots coming in from those abbots again. Are they doing a lot of damage? This one's certainly panicked and routed. This one's injured. A little bit stressed out. But Lathan just keeps moving his infantry around to try and avoid this. HE bomber coming in the center there. Going for the Apache. Gets annihilated before it gets there. Another HE bomber coming in here. Going to try and fire on those mech rifles. Unfortunately, mech rifles are out the way. And it's already being hit. Doesn't even get its bombs off and is annihilated by those chaparrals. A little bit of an aggressive push there at the top, but being well defended by Lathans. That Abrams and the Bradley there putting in a lot of crossfire. Down here, though, a bit of progress from Lathans. He is making a move across the middle. Those HA Abrams really assisting with that. Thunderbolt coming in here, being turned towards the top of the map now. That mortar being pushed up pretty close. Mortify going in down here. More defensive in the actual city here. Awoodenbox looking fairly strong down here with those Assault Pioneers moving in now. Harry HE coming in for those mech rifles. Though they may get hit on the way past by the Stinger. Stinger fires. Good hit. It will drop its bombs though. Does get a kill on the mech rifles, but is killed by the other Stinger. Eagle was also in to try and counter it. Thunderbolt coming back around, heading towards the center. Good push here from Lathans. He's almost in the point itself. Ito taking a lot of fire here. Lots of artillery shots coming in on that area to try and stop those infantry pushing forward. But it's obviously all of this stuff that he should be worried about that is almost in the point. And here's that command tank moving in now. Another command tank down here. Lathans really wants in this point. He's having to retreat his forces down here, though. The Assault Pioneer is doing a really good job. Thunderbolt gets in, does look to have got a kill on a Chieftain Mark 9, but is badly injured and is retreating, but does survive. Lives to fight another day. Push up here, unfortunately, from Awoodenbox has stalled. He is not going to get in that point by the looks of it. He just hasn't managed to dislodge the Abrams and Bradley over that side. But look at this down here. Poor Awoodenbox getting absolutely hammered now with just 12 minutes left of the game. And all Lathans has to do is sit a command in there for a little while to tip those points over. Lathans having to retreat at the bottom. But look at all these units pushing in now. Loads more fire teams coming in for that as well. Cluster bombers coming in, going for tanks. Good eyes on there, does get the drop. Doesn't get the kill. This one going for the Milan Para, does get the kill. This jet is getting out alive. This one also looks pretty safe, unless a Tractor Rapier gets a kill. Tractor Rapier does get the kill at the top there. 2 fire team leaders coming in here. Lathans is determined to take this point by any means necessary. Badly damaged Abrams tank there, slightly damaged Abrams tank there, but this Chieftain is going to die. Oh, Abrams gets a lovely shot on that Challenger Mark II there. He will be pleased with that. Lathans has made it into the town. Lots of infantry fighting between the buildings here. Ito back here, firing at who knows what. Oh, he's going for the mortar. HA is still pretty much intact there. A little bit of damage, but nothing too exciting. Some more Warrior Milans coming in there, but there's the command in the point. Plus 18, he's already overtaken quite easily there. Artillery coming in on that command. Oh, something got a nice hit on it. Could have been the rifles getting a nice hit there. It was within range. Not sure the artillery necessarily did that much damage to it in one hit. Fire Team 84 moving in down here. Lots of fire support coming in from the back. Command is out. Badly damaged. Cluster Bomber coming in there. Looking for a kill on that Abrams at the back. Apache coming back in now. Will be good at clearing up these infantry. That Tractor Rapier does not have eyes on. That Tractor Rapier unfortunately hasn't done a lot this game. It's always been out of line of sight of everything. Engineer's Flash coming in at the bottom here to deal with the remaining forces of Awoodenbox. And Awoodenbox completely stalled at the top there. Everything is looking very, very blue. Couple of clusters coming in here. Going for kills on these command tanks, I assume. Yes, indeed. Still has eyes on at the moment. Does come in, is going for this one. Tank is on the move, though. Does drop, doesn't get the kill. That one is destroyed. Doesn't actually manage to drop its bombs. Engineer's Flash arriving here. Rover command vehicle just being rushed to the back point there. Last minute act of desperation from Awoodenbox. I don't think this is going well. Engineer's Flash can actually fire at this because it's a soft top vehicle, so they can actually use their flamethrowers against it. Lathans looking pretty solid at the top. These have finally taken a load of damage. The Abrams is badly damaged, and the Bradley, but not destroyed, just badly damaged. Oh, another jet taken out, another Harrier. There's a lot of jet losses for Awoodenbox here, but I mean, it was last-minute desperation to stop Lathans achieving the win, but I think it's all over now. Lathans just with a bigger force, loads more stuff still coming in. Those command infantry moving in as well now. Military police coming in there. Some resupply as well. Fire teams heading up just to defend this point. But he's looking pretty solid there. Reinforcements are coming in for this point at the bottom. But there's only 8 minutes left of the game. Lathans is out in the lead. There's no command in here for Awoodenbox. So once a command is in here for Lathans, it will be +4. And he's got 2 infantry commands coming in. So he's definitely getting in here. More arm rifles being called in by Awoodenbox there. He's fighting till the bitter end, but all these Engineers Flash at the bottom will eventually sweep up into the town, very effectively clearing out any infantry, I'm sure. There's the command coming in. +2 will shortly become +4 once it caps the entire point. Thunderbolt still knocking around the top there, obviously looking for some kills on the Chieftain at the back perhaps. Cluster did come in there, but has taken fire. Yeah. There's the surrender. Commiserations Awoodenbox. Really hard fought there. Lathans just had the bigger pushing force towards the end there. A little bit more concentrating. Obviously, big difference in kills to losses. Kills to losses there. I don't know. Let's have a look. Stinger's doing pretty well as far as general units go. We're not giving anything to the Abrams. Chaparral did okay as well, but I think the Stingers get it. Nothing too stand out at the other side, so Stingers get MVP this game. Good game, guys. So 1-1 now, so the decider will be tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please do like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you all soon.